In today's podcast episode, we're going to be talking about the TikTok adventure I want to go on with the FastForwardAmy brand and how you can set up a shop that allows you to sell digital products, not necessarily courses. In order to do that, I have a very special guest. She's a stationery hoarder, aren't we all, and a Shopify girl. Christina Scalera, my friend, is the founder of D-Commerce Coaching, and she created that from running her own 7-figure award-winning digital download store, The Contract Shop. Welcome, Christina Scalera.
Hello, and welcome to the FastForwardAmy Show, the show where we lift your life and business with simple strategies. I'm FastForwardAmy, your host and coach, and I'll bring you a new episode every Tuesday.
What's up, Christina, my friend? I haven't seen you in such a long time.
This is such a treat. I am up early, but I'm so excited because it's you.
What time is it there? Because we're recording at like 3:30 p.m. What time is it for you?
7:40 in the morning.
Oh, shit. I didn't know I did that to you. Oh,
no, it's all good.
I didn't realize our time difference is so bad. This is why it's so difficult to talk to each other.
And it's going to get worse because I'm moving to the West Coast. So
yeah, what's up with that? You're moving again?
I am, yeah. So my fiance and he's in the Navy, so he moves around a lot. The United States Navy. I feel like I need to clarify that for an international audience. So every 3 years he moves, and we're up in July, and we're moving to Washington State.
Exciting. And when is your wedding?
Yeah. This June. Oh my gosh, it's this year. I can finally say it's this year.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're finally in the new year, because we are recording this a week before this airs. So hopefully by the time that this actually airs, I will have gotten rid of the nasal type of voice situation that I have going on. But for those tuning in, I'm stuck with COVID at home in quarantine. So I'm literally just doing this interview in my PJs.
I feel for you.
Yeah, but it's okay. I'm getting better every day. I'm just really tired. But it's been a really great exercise for me to look at what I have to do every day and what I don't necessarily have to do. I've realized I'm really good at basically screwing myself over and doing a million things at once. Do you ever have that? Like, you check your phone, like I'll check iMessage, WhatsApp, and then I'll check like Instagram, and I'll check like my other accounts, and I'll check into Slack. And for some reason, when I get this feeling that I need to do a lot of stuff, I won't get around to doing the stuff. I'll first respond to everything in Slack, which is just terrible procrastination, because you actually think that that's what you should be doing.
Yeah, email's my kryptonite, where I get in there and it's my procrastination tool. It feels like I'm doing something, but I'm not. There's literally nothing I do in my email that moves my business forward other than paying invoices.
Yeah, I don't.
And that takes how long? 3 seconds? Like, I don't need to be in there.
Yeah, I don't do email, but then again, I'm also like, no one knows how to reach me, which is not always that good either. So Christina, you are one of the people I follow online, and also you're my friends, but you're one of the people who has brought who's brought the concept of digital products to me for the first time. Because in the beginning, when I met you, we were in a mastermind together, you were talking digital products, and I was like, yeah, like courses, but apparently it's not like courses. What are digital products?
Yeah, for sure. So I've coined the term D-commerce to refer to digital download products that are sold through an online store. A lot of us are familiar with e-commerce, which is oftentimes associated with drop shipping or just creating your own products, like maybe candles or some kind of like knitting something, and you're selling that through Etsy or your online store. So we're all familiar with e-commerce, like E as in Edward the vampire. And D-commerce is a little bit different because
that's your E.
I don't know like what it's supposed to be, but that's what I say. So D-commerce, D as in dog, is a little bit different in that you're selling digital downloads through an online storefront. So you guys will all be familiar with Amy's storefront because it has a D-commerce shop. And she sells templates and mini courses and lots of different smaller tools than, say, the BFE. And so that's where she has all of those e-commerce products available, and they're also available all the time, which is very different than a course, which typically has an open close enrollment or some kind of like gatekeeping on it. Usually there's a webinar or a sign up of some sort to even get to see a sales page or the sales tool for an online course. Versus a e-commerce store, it's really, really nice for your audience because they can just log in. Well, not even log in. They just go to your website, they click the shop tab, and they're instantly able to make a purchase from you and get a taste of what it is that you offer and how you present your expertise, what you're an expert in, and whether or not they'd want to take that next step with you. So it can really be a nice jumping off point for people that haven't made that big BFE purchase or, big course purchase yet. But it can also be a nice way for you to continue to nurture the people that just want more and more and more of you, because even though it might be hard to believe, they want more of you. They want to see what the templates and the tools are that you're using.
Yeah, I just released a Success Habits workbook, which is actually like a printable, and I got so many downloads and I was like, oh, holy shit, but I can create a million of these things because this is how my brain works. I like to work in templates and workbooks. They always make that stuff for me, but for some reason, I never think about the fact that actually might be useful for other people. I think like, I'll write a guide with 6 steps, but apparently just the way I brainstorm and mind map and make sheets is maybe more useful. So, by the way, I did not ask you to introduce yourself because I will add an introduction, but I do feel like I have to ask you, how would you introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah. So I started an online store in 2015. And for the first 3 months of that online store, it's called the Contract Shop. It was total crickets, like just nothing. I was blogging. I had the freebie to the welcome series, all the things that they tell you to do, and nothing was happening. And so finally, 3 months into this thing, I had this awesome opportunity to get in front of someone else's audience. And I'd never done a webinar before. And it ended up being like 4,000 or 5,000 people that were registered for this webinar. And I did the world's worst webinar, but I did one thing right, thankfully, which was I just taught from a place of service and not selling. I do think selling can be a service, but at that point in my life, I didn't know how to do that. Like it was like one or the other. And I had my first sale. So after that webinar, we sold it was just me at the time. So it was like $3,500 worth of product. And I'd never sold more than like $4 on an Etsy shop with digital downloads before. And so this was an eye-opening experience to realize I could actually do this. Like this is actually something I could make a living from versus services, which we all know how hard services can be, working one-on-one with clients and meeting client expectations. That's kind of where I was at when I started my shop. Was with a service-based business. And I was so excited about the prospect of doing something like this, where I could really work in the background and then put these things up for sale. And people would just come to my online storefront and buy them. And then I would get money in my bank that I could then in turn use to live and fund my future business goals and things like that. Like it just seemed too good to be true. And then here I am 6 years later, still doing this. And then now teaching other people how to do it, because I've gotten so many questions about like, how are you making this work? What platforms are you using? What kind of software do I need? What should I make a digital download product out of? What are the types of things that I could do that will help this digital download product to sell on a daily basis? So those are the types of things that I've become an expert in just by doing them. And I still have my online store, which is really nice because I'm able to teach from this place of, this is what we tried this month and here's how it worked, versus here's in theory what I think you should be doing, which, it's not necessarily wrong, but I find that it makes me a better coach as far as teaching people about e-commerce.
Yeah. How much revenue has your shop done?
Total, I don't know if we've hit 2 million or not yet, but it's close. But
with all products of the price range is what? Low, right?
Well, yeah. So our average order value is about $300, maybe give or take some, depending on what promos and things like that we're running. And we've run Facebook ads, but we've never gotten really good at them. So ads have not really been a thing for us. Affiliates have. So I wouldn't say large, like maybe 30% of that revenue has gone to affiliates just over the years. But yeah, we're steadily at the $500,000 to $600,000 mark a year right now, which is pretty cool because that means I think that's like $40,000 months. So that's a pretty healthy budget to run something that only needs an ops director, a content manager, and a customer support person. Oh, and a graphic designer. So that's pretty much it. They're all contractors and I don't have to show up. I just kind of make sure everyone's paid, make sure everything's moving along. We do a couple events a year that I'm a part of. But other than that, I'm really just like the founder of the company now, not really even running it day to day because it runs itself.
So all of your products are like, are contracts in that shop because it's the contract shop, right?
Yeah, legal templates. So contract templates. And we also have a couple under $50 products that we introduced that was super popular. And those are things that are more like workbooks, worksheets, some of the mini courses that we turned into PDFs and now sell in that category. Those are, excuse me, I only mention it because they're all super popular. So if you are thinking about getting started with digital products, you don't need to start with like a template or something really, really big. Like you were talking about, Amy, you could totally take the freebie that you just made and maybe it's only a freebie for 6 months and then it turns into a shop product and you come out with a new freebie and now people have to pay for that, what used to be a freebie. So that's a great way for you to create consistent shop products because you're always going to need a new freebie to energize your list and to get new people interested in what you have to say and reinvigorate people who have maybe forgotten about you in between launches. And then if you're turning that into a product afterward, or even if it is a product today, that's something that I've seen employed well as a strategy because people just kind of want to go in a shop and see everything laid out that they could potentially have access to. And even if it's for free through a Facebook ad or somewhere else on the internet, it still is really exciting if they can just go in and see everything that's available and add everything that they want to their cart and check out. And, whatever, if they find it free later, to be honest, most people don't. But if they did, I would just give them a refund or something.
So I was thinking for this interview, well, it's not really an interview. I just wanted to chat with you. I've been wanting to introduce you to my audience for such a long time. Everyone should go and follow Christina Scalera on Instagram. She makes funny stories and she has cute animals in her life. But I was thinking, because we're launching this episode almost in real time, I could tell you about my new idea and you could tell me what you think about it. And if we can maybe add like more of a digital downloads products decom shop to it. Okay. Are you ready to hear about my new idea?
Yeah, let's hear it.
This is me being really raw and also telling my entire audience about my TikTok strategy. So
now you're going to have to do this.
I'm going to have to do it. This is also me like telling my marketing team, hey, listen to this episode so you know what I want to do. So yeah, for the longest time, I've realized I need new traffic and there's a bunch of things I can do for new traffic. I can grow on Instagram. I can do podcast swaps with people. I can massively improve the SEO on my website and all of that stuff and press. But there's also one thing that I think I could be really good at, namely TikTok, where a lot of new potential leads are because people on TikTok are younger. It's very snappy, very cheap content. My podcast episodes usually cost a lot of money to produce, but making a TikTok or a reel for that matter is fairly cheap. But then I was browsing TikTok because, man, I feel old when I'm on TikTok, but that's a whole other story. So I was on TikTok and I realized like, if you look at other great accounts, I follow this woman, she's 27, I'm 28 now. And she has her first 100K as an account and she talks about finances and everyone who became big on TikTok did it with like one thing, which is obviously also the mistake I've been making on my Instagram. I should be more focused on one thing, but I can't seem to figure out what it is. But I thought if I start on TikTok, I can start fresh and I can do something that would also translate to my Instagram, but there I can really make it super focused on one thing. Then I thought, where does my audience start? The ambitious women that I coach, usually my coaching programs in BFE, for example. By the way, for everyone who has not signed up, know that our pre-order is opening soon. Make sure you're on the wait list. The link is, as always, fastforwardamy.com/elevator. and I link it up everywhere because it's the only thing I talk about. So that type of woman will probably start with things about time management and productivity, because before you get into money mindset, you talk about goal setting. Before you talk about goal setting, you're probably looking at your time management. After money mindset probably comes like sales stuff, and all of that stuff is things I teach in the podcast. But I was thinking, what if I use TikTok to talk about time management and goal setting, productivity, the way you work, task management, tools, all that stuff, and make that my one thing on TikTok, which is, by the way, perfectly aligned with fast forward, because by managing all those things efficiently, you can fast forward and like take shortcuts in your business and then grow. First idea, what do you think of that?
I love it. And I've not experimented with this, but I do know a couple TikTok experts, and they all say exactly what you're saying is like, if you do want to grow on TikTok, you've got to start a fresh account, and it's got to be super niche like that.
Yeah. And then I was thinking, because there are younger people there who have like probably less money. They're maybe still in school, stuff like that. Look at me being old and being like, I think people from the TikTok generation are there.
Those
so
TikToks.
Those TikTokers. Then I was thinking, with that, it would work really well if I had cheaper products to offer these people. Usually I'm not one for price competition, but they don't have any use for my more expensive products yet. So I could offer them like maybe some time management Excel sheets, goal setting stuff, workbooks, stuff like that. So I could start my whole digital shop with the focus on the time management and goal setting stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen this work really, really well for TikTokers. One of note is Ellie Talks Money. And
you gave me her account and I watch her.
Did I love it. I love this girl. She just completely blew up, and I found her early on. So I've been able to watch her journey, but I've noticed that she just puts out consistently. She puts out, like $12, $19. It's all pretty much under $50 products. And I've figured out from watching her and how much money she's made, she's upselling these people on the back end. So she does have a shop of sorts, at least she did when I last checked. And you could go through and peruse and buy any of her products or her book. She's got a lot of different low ticket offers like that. And they're all available through like a shop format. So I really like that as a strategy. I think the most important thing would be to capitalize on that fresh excitement that they have right after they made a purchase, especially if they are a younger or I guess less, they're newer to, they're newer to buying things online, like we're so used to, as online entrepreneurs, we're so used to going through and doing the fancy sales funnel and a webinar and really nurturing that audience into a sale. And like TikTokers, at least from what I've been researching and seeing, they're in it for a quick win, which is perfect for shop products, but also they want that result like right away. So they want the productivity. They want to feel more focused. They want to feel less overwhelmed. Like they want everything that you are selling to them. They want something right away. And like investing in a product like that would really help them, because it's not necessarily like you couldn't learn that stuff from you in other channels. It's more like that guide is going to be a shortcut because it's concise and you've done all the work of like pulling all the resources together for them. And I think there's just something to people spending a dollar amount, even if it's $2 or $4, that makes it feel like a more legitimate resource, and they take it more seriously and hopefully get a result from it.
So what you're saying is I shouldn't think about like on TikTok creating a bunch of videos, because I already started this content database. And then also I love that we're just talking out loud about this, because this is the fun, this is what I want to do with the podcast in 2022, is offer my audience a chance to connect with my own friends who are also entrepreneurs who've built their own $1 million businesses and whatnot. And like, this is a conversation we would have, right? Normally in real life, like a phone call. So that's what I want to show people, how that's possible. So now I lost track of what I was saying.
No, I would definitely say the more videos, the better. Like I would err on the side of having less products and more videos, because TikTok especially when you're new. They want to see that you're using the platform and show you to more people. Plus, there's just, I mean, the more videos you create, the more opportunity you have to go viral or to get shown on the For You page or, show up in people's feeds.
Yeah. So what I was thinking is what we would normally do on Instagram is like, we create a whole video and then we'll be like, download my lead magnet. But on TikTok, we would just be like, hey, this is me teaching you how to like identify your biggest tasks for 2022 on a piece of paper. And by the way, if you want, you can just buy my ebook where I walk you through it. So what you're saying is people are younger. They don't want the long ass, really boring sales funnels that we're used to making. They just want to instantly buy it. Because I recognize this because I was on TikTok trying to teach myself to TikTok. And I saw these accounts who teach you how to TikTok. And I was like, okay, do you have a course or do you have a product that teaches me how to TikTok? I don't want to download anything. I have money. Please just tell me which one I need to buy and I will buy it. Oh, you have a bundle? Perfect. I'll buy the bundle. So yeah, I think maybe we've overcomplicated sales sometimes.
Yeah.
Is that kind of, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, this is why I love shops in general though, because we overcomplicate sales so much because we think that we have to do the launch and we have to have the ads or whatever pre-launch materials that are coming out. And I was talking to someone yesterday who has had her course done. She's like sold it to 5 people privately. And I'm like, she has a group of 3,000 and email lists of like even more. And she's like, I don't know how to sell it. Like, I just have to do this whole like launch and everything. And I was like, no, you don't. You could just literally say, we have 20 spots to this thing. Here's the checkout link, and then send it to them afterwards. Like it doesn't have to be hard. And I totally think that on TikTok, it's more important and you don't even need to say like, download my free thing or go to here or whatever. I've noticed they just like drop like book below or like see book link below or, they don't even tell you to grab it or download it or anything. It's like less actiony and it's more just like this exists. And the
like
implication
the
is that
just like you just have to
like
cool.
The implication is just that you're going to go and get this thing. Like, of course you are. So they make it easy enough, but it's not. Yeah. So I like TikTok as a growth strategy. I don't think it could hurt, especially since you can repurpose that into Reels. And we all know the gold mine that Reels is right now. So
yeah, I was also thinking that all of that time management and goal setting content is like complementary with all of my other content. It's great filler content because my audience at every phase would be interested in that.
Yeah.
So, okay, practically, I have a Shopify where my mini courses are. My mini courses are priced anywhere between like 27 to 150 euros. And it's like how to close a sales call or like how to manage your time, stuff like that. And I was just thinking to create like a second page in the shop or like a collection, doesn't matter. And there I would be like, here are a bunch of small things you can just buy from me. And these could be like Excel sheets or like workbooks or templates. But I don't know if that's what you mean with the whole digital products.
Yeah. No, do like an under 50 or an under $25 category. People love that. There's a reason why when you shop on the, I'm not sure what big department stores are over there, but think of like Nordstrom or Saks Fifth Avenue or something like that. Even they're luxury brands and they still have, especially in their gift guides and things like that, where it's newer people that maybe don't shop all the time searching for gifts. Those all have under 100, under 50, under $25 categories because it makes it really easy to find something in their price point. And I think the big piece that you have, you've worked really, really hard for, but now have the luxury of is that people want a piece of you and they want that insider access to you.
Inside access to me.
I should have known that's where it was going to go. Yeah. So, but they do, they want to know like, what's that secret to Amy's life? Like, what is her, I guarantee you everybody in your audience wants to know what you eat for breakfast and like what you do first thing in the morning. And if you did TikToks on that, they would be super interested. And then if that led to like your productivity throughout the day, which hint, hint, nudge, nudge is one of your shop products under $25 or whatever, like that's what they're going to go for, because they're going to be so interested in what it is that you do, because you are a little bit of a lifestyle brand where we can see into your house a little bit. We can see your life with Billy. We can just kind of get like that little nibble of your life, but a shop product would give them a big bite. And that's, I think, what they're excited about.
But what comes up for me immediately is like limiting beliefs about the fact like, oh, but I don't use that many like templates or things, because I just grab a notebook and I just start writing or mind mapping, but obviously I draw some lines on it or some circles so I could like have a sheet that displays that, or that could be a video where I teach people and then it could lead to something else. But
yeah,
and
I'm already thinking like,
yeah,
they want to know like, what are you writing about? What are you mind mapping? What does a mind map look like for you? You know, like what does it like an empty mind map look like that they can fill in? So like they're already thinking like, I want those things.
Yeah. And then on the other hand, I have some really great Excel sheets with calculations and formulas in my BFE, but I should keep those in my BFE, right? Or how does that work? I don't want to put all of the gold on my shop.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this because I know this is a common objection I think you will get probably. So how would you go about that?
Yeah, for sure. So the people that are buying from your shop are not necessarily always the same people that are going to join BFE. So for example, BFE right now, I know there's plans, but BFE right now is in Dutch. So for someone like me,
my God, I can create the shop in English. Also, you can see my bra on camera. I'm so sorry, Christina.
But like for someone like me who, you know, I love you. I would love to see those templates. I would love to buy them. I would love to use them. But, you know, the BFE just hasn't been right because I don't speak Dutch. I briefly flirted with the idea of learning Dutch just to go through your BFE. And then I was like, okay, I don't know that I'm going to be able to learn like conversational and business Dutch in enough time to go through. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, I think that it's a really valid point, because you also don't want to cheapen the experience of the people who have invested in BFE or other programs where these are critical resources that maybe were a part of why they made the decision to invest. So there's a couple of things that I do in situations like that with clients. First, usually we rename the resource so that it isn't readily apparent to clients who have that resource that it's the exact same thing. They're not, if they've already invested in like those high level programs, they're typically not going back to the shop and picking up new items unless I directly and specifically guide them to a certain product. And I'm like, you need this, buy this. So it usually isn't, I've never seen that come up as an issue, especially after it's renamed. The second thing to do is I usually make it a little bit of a lighter version, both because they're paying a lot less technically for it. They're not paying, you know, the BFE price tag. They're paying maybe $79 or $109 or something like that. So I make it a little bit lighter, a little bit easier to use. And that's usually kind of necessary too, because I'm sure in BFE, you're explaining a lot more, you're integrating it into the whole system. And in your shop, it like people aren't going to take, the reason why they want it now is because they're not going to take the time, or they don't have the time to go through the whole teaching and training around that resource. So they just want the results. And even if it's not like the full result that they get in BFE, they'll still take the slimmed down version of it because it helps them to accomplish what it is that they're looking for, but also that way it's not exactly the same. It's the same concept, but it's not exactly the same resource. Like maybe it has less fields in the template or the Excel sheet. Maybe it has a little bit of an easier way to input the variables. Like maybe there's like a form on the front end and like a Google form, and then it gets input into the Excel sheet. So they don't have to manually do it. Or like if you have a training that walks them line by line, they don't have to do that training. So those are the types of things that would be really helpful if you wanted to repurpose some of those products from the course into a shop.
Mm-hmm. So let's say, like, I'm taking myself as a case, by the way, for anyone listening. This is not because I'm self-obsessed. This is because I think it's very tangible for everyone because they know my business and my programs. With your advice, now we can all see how I'm going to implement this. And now I hack myself, obviously. But let's say, like, for example, a therapist, for example. My cousin is a therapist and she's been creating her own shop. She created actually a physical planner journal thing. And I think she has a bunch of other things that she could put in her shop. for example, for me or for her, would you recommend that you actually like gear towards a big launch and then be like, hey, here's my shop with like 10 products? Or should I maybe just like next week be like, hey, I put something in my shop that you can go and grab? Like, what's the best way to go about this? And will people just go to the shop? How do we get clients from the shop? Because we're not working with funnels. Christina, so many questions.
I know. Well, a couple things here. First, is everyone in your family an entrepreneur? Because that's awesome. Second, if you do want to get traffic to your online store, you are going to have to tell people about it. That's the biggest reason I see my clients not have the success they're looking for, is like they don't even mention it anywhere. And I don't think there's like either of the methods that you talked about are right for different kinds of people. And you, I know, do a birthday sale every year, or at least from what I've seen, you do birthday sales every year. So like that's a great launch event, and that's a great promo event that can help bring attention and drive awareness to your shop or any new products that you have. I like to release new products as like kind of a mini event. So something's coming next week, check your email, and then it's here. And even though maybe it's like not even that exciting, maybe it's just like a, new $19 like whatever, or maybe you redesigned a product. It's like the same exact thing. It's just better looking now. I still use that as an event, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's here. And people get really excited about that. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to like fly off the shelves, but what it does mean is that they're now aware of that product and your specialty in that area to have products in that field of interest. So they're going to be telling their friends like, hey, you've got to go to the FastForwardAmy shop, because if you need like a habit tracker or a productivity tracker or like a focus planner, she has the best ones. And they may not have even bought from you, but that word of mouth is so valuable, because now they associate that theme around your shop with what it is that you're selling. And so when someone has a question or an issue around that, they're already referring people to your shop. So I don't think the launch versus just like a subtle hint is wrong. I would rather just see people talk about it in whatever way that they can. And, hopefully mention your shop at least once a week. And it doesn't have to be super overt. You're really, really good about this. So if anybody watches Amy's stories, yes, like you're so good at this. So you'll just be like, yeah, so I was talking to my business freedom elevator clients the other day and and just dropping subtle hints like, when I was updating my shop the other day, I had a thought that blah, 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 blah. So it's not necessarily like you're like, go to my shop and buy the thing. You're just gently nudging people and reminding them that this thing exists.
So what I'm thinking right now, by the way, I think this is so much fun. It's almost making me horny. That's how much fun I think talking about new ideas is. I also... So we decided to like look at our brand storylines and our values, and we identified for like the upcoming months, we identified failing forward, which the whole perfectly imperfect entrepreneurship is obviously part of failing forward. We have freedom and authentic authority, authenticity, all of that is a part of freedom, location independence, blah, blah, blah. It's all freedom. Then we have fun, because fun is something. I think I'm a fun person in real life. I think I'm a fun coach. I have a lot of jokes. I have good stories to tell. But
you're a very fun person.
Thanks.
I'm glad you're embracing it.
I thought it might be useful, and my team thought so too, to actually show people a bit more of that. So that's why I'm just saying these things about this making me horny just on the podcast, guys. You're welcome.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, this is so much fun, because I already see so many possibilities, because I am the person who will be like journaling in the morning and brain dumping and mind mapping, and I do my best work on paper or in like a structured dashboard, and all of that stuff is stuff I can teach, stuff I can sell. But what is very weird to me is I'm always teaching people to focus on one core offer, because I know that starting entrepreneurs who will start with something like this, they will start spending all of their time creating new shit and not enough on promoting it. So what do we do about that? Would you recommend
your shop is your core offer.
Yeah.
So the reason why my shop has been successful versus like an online course is because I promote the shop. So it's always like, hey, we're doing an event, and at the center of it is like shop our shop. It's not like, buy this, like we're talking about calligraphy, because we have like a calligrapher template. We're not talking about like calligraphy one time and then it's like calligraphy, blah, blah. Like people don't get to know us for that. They get to know us because like we have a legal template for calligraphers. Oh, and by the way, we have all these other templates. So I think that's where you focus is that.
So you solve one need.
Shop.
So for example, my shop could become like the fast forward shop where it like the shop helps you to get shit done, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's your shop's purpose. Forward.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because for example, my mugs, I have 2 mugs that I sell. One of them is a perfectly imperfect mug. I'm actually, I have that in my shop. That's with a drop shipping size. Nice. So I don't have a stock or whatever. I've been wanting to create a new mug for a really long time. And I'm thinking I created this year, or I posted on my Instagram last week about it being my fuck yes year. So maybe I can create a fuck yes mug. And the way I see the mugs is in the morning when you get your coffee or your tea, you really purposely choose which mug you're getting for the vibe for that day. So now I'm sick. Mm-hmm. So obviously I'm taking it easy and I'm doing everything perfectly imperfect. But if I want to get super fired up, I would go and grab my new fuck yes mug. So that could be a part of the shop, although that's physical, but it would be perfectly aligned with the whole fast forward message of the shop. And I can just look with my team, like, how do they work? What do we use? What do we teach our clients? And what can we offer people to help them fast forward?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And then it all comes back to the core message of your shop, which is like, we want to help you fast forward. So all the products that you're creating. I have to lie on the floor for a second. This is so good. Well, all of the products you're creating are around that theme. So it really isn't like you're like, it might feel at first that you're creating all these different things, but you're not telling me that you want to create like a cover letter template. You're telling me that you want to create productivity templates, which all help with that underlying theme.
Yeah. And even when it's like, when it would be a financial template, it would still help you fast forward because of that, you will do it faster.
Yeah. It's still through that lens of productivity and moving yourself forward in your entrepreneurial journey. It's not even like, I couldn't even see you creating like financial templates for someone who is, you know, getting out of college and like getting their, like it would always come from the lens of you're running your own business and you need to learn how to manage your personal finances better. You need to learn how to manage your business finances better. And it always comes back to that. As long as it comes back to that core message, I think you're okay. It's just like if you started selling like Canva templates and had this whole like graphic design shop, then people might get confused.
Yeah. Okay. So let's assume one of my BFE clients wants to do this, or someone who's listening to the podcast who are mostly my clients, for being honest. So I already have an audience. So for me, it's relatively simple. If I start talking about it, if I start name dropping, I assume people will go there. I think some people might even bookmark the shop and like go there again when they want to treat themselves or when they feel stuck about their priorities and goals. But what would you tell someone who doesn't have an audience yet? Someone who's listening now and is super fired up and like, yeah, I want to shop. But where do they start? Oh, I keep flashing you. I'm so sorry.
I don't even notice. Like, what's wrong with me that I don't?
You don't like my boobs? Also, Christina and I have trying to look up here.
No, it's a really good question. So I would definitely borrow other people's audiences heavily. So we in my coaching business, I have courses. I should have a shop and like have 2 shops and practice what I preach. It's getting there. But so in one of my courses, S4, I teach people the 2 ways to do this. And my favorite way to do this is to use other people's audience, because there are lots of entrepreneurs out there who are paying thousands and thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of dollars every month for content creation. And it is exhausting and they don't know what else to talk about. And they've pulled their audiences and they've paid all the copywriters. And for you to come in with a fresh idea or a fresh take on something after you've thoughtfully looked through what they've already curated as content would be so valuable to them. And that's exactly how I infiltrated a bunch of different businesses when I started and I had no audience. I just looked at what they were lacking on their blogs and their YouTube and things like that. And I said, how can I possibly help this person? Like I put myself in the role of a copywriter for them basically for free. And I said, I'll help you out and I'll write a guest blog post. I'll do a presentation to your audience, like anything you want. I just really want to be able to talk about this topic to your audience. I think it would be valuable for XYZ reasons. And I've noticed you haven't covered this topic lately. And of course it had a nice, sexy hook, you know, like like with this podcast, when I pitched the topics, one was like how or why digital products are replacing courses. Like that's intriguing. It's a little bit sexy. So those are the types of things that I approach people with. And almost everyone said yes. At the time, legal stuff really wasn't talked about online. So it was a little bit easier, but it would still be easy today. I just have to be a little more creative about my pitch and maybe how I'm approaching people. Like I would probably give them maybe 3 topics to pick from versus just one. And then I would, show them exactly how this benefits their audience. So almost like pitching myself as like their copywriter or their expert for a day, and then doing some kind of like live, like an Instagram live. You can now connect account to account, or doing some sort of collaboration on their stories or story takeover. Like there's so many more options that are available for you guys today that I didn't have. So I was just doing JV webinars and guest blog posting. But I think in today's like social media forward age, almost where Instagram has replaced a lot of blogging, then maybe doing a collab where you take over their stories and you give them a break from content creation for the day. Maybe you are going live on their Instagram or collabing or doing a reel together, or like giving them reels that they can post to their account. Like that would be amazing if someone just said, oh, here's like 2 reels that I made for you. And I looked at them and I was like, yeah, that actually fits with my audience and where we're going and stuff. And that would be so awesome. So I think there's lots of opportunities for people that don't have an audience yet to build one off the back of someone else. And also it's a win-win because they get a little bit of a break from this like constant deluge of creating all the time.
Yeah. So for example, I'm already thinking, why am I not an affiliate for your course? And maybe you can do a webinar for my audience and I don't have to host a webinar.
Yeah. Just completely taking that off your plate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So many good ideas. So why are courses dead? Why is it that you focus so much on this? So it's not focused on services because that's trading time for money. But I know that for a lot of starting entrepreneurs, for example, it's really difficult to create that first course because they have a tendency to put everything they know into that course. I assume that this breaks that up, but why the love for the, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think courses are dead necessarily, but as you know, they're a lot harder to create than a lot of people are trying to sell you on.
Yeah, and they're also they age really quickly. Is what I'm like very upset about, is that I always have to re-record stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Especially if it's on any kind of trendy topic like Instagram or Pinterest or something, they age like milk. And ultimately it comes down to a course is just a container, just like a template or a worksheet or a retreat or a mastermind. Like those are all just containers. And we need to look at what result someone wants to get from us and what kind of result we can provide. And we need to ask, what is the right container to get them that result? So for example, with BFE, if someone wants to start their business and have a fully automated marketing system running for them, and they're willing to take the couple months that it takes to get that started, then a course or even like a group coaching or hybrid like you have there is a more appropriate container than a template shop, because a template shop wouldn't be able to teach them how to have all these integrated pieces working together for them. But if somebody just wants to work with a client in the next 10 minutes, then downloading a contract template is going to be a lot better for them than me sitting there trying to teach them contracts 101 for 7 hours and them getting bored out of their mind. So we always have to look at what the result is that we're trying to help someone to achieve, like what that result they've told us through hopefully money is like what they're interested in. And then we have to pick the appropriate container to house that. And sometimes it's a course, sometimes it's a retreat, sometimes it's a template. And when it is a smaller, lower ticket item, like a template or a worksheet or something like that, it does lend itself better to being sold through a storefront where people can like go shopping and like start hoarding all your items and buying all of them. Yeah,
great. So this means that like we want to solve at least one problem with the product we offer, no matter what type of container it is.
Right. Yeah. Really well put.
Nice. Yeah. I'm already thinking like, oh, my my Excel sheet with my time management system that's just about like catching all of your to-dos and organizing them is a perfect thing to offer people, because that gets rid of your overwhelm. So if you're feeling overwhelmed because you have 10 different to-do lists and you lose them all, you can grab my Excel sheet. Like that would already sell it if I would make a story like that, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for you too, I just want to say this because it would be really fun. What I've seen some companies do, typically physical products. So I've seen like mugs or blankets. I've seen them do this where they do like this or that. So they'll do the poll, like arrow up, arrow down, and they'll have people, it's almost like a war. So the idea is that you start with like 16 products and it's like, would you rather have this or that? And they like battle each other for like 3 days. And then by the end you have a winner, like a winner product. So that could be like really, really fun to do if anybody is sitting there and they're like, I don't know what kind of products to create. Well, you could just have people decide for you. You don't have to create them until people start buying them. And even then I encourage people to sell in their shop on pre-sale until they've made some sales of the product and then go and create it and deliver it, because people will typically be totally fine with a little bit of a discount and getting the product in like 30 days or 14 days after purchase versus getting it immediately, but paying more. So that's how I encourage people to pre-sell, is like, whatever your idea is, like all these ideas that you're getting in the morning, Amy, you can just put that idea pre-sale, will be delivered in 14 days or 30 days. And then like tell your audience about it. You get 7 sales that day. You're like, yeah, I'll make it. And you can create it.
And then I have then I hacked myself to make it, which is a great time management hack. Because I'm so bad at, I think I've never sold anything that was finished. I always sell stuff that's not finished or doesn't exist. I like that.
I would say that's more rare, which is weird because I'm the same way as you, where I'm like, yeah, just sell it, make the money. And then you can tailor it to those people that bought it. But most people are waiting way too long to get the stuff out there.
Yeah, exactly. Is there anything we haven't talked about yet that you would love to add?
I don't think so. Just maybe that shops are almost what people are looking for instead of blogs nowadays, because they want to see what you're an expert in really quickly. And I think everyone is kind of over like the very saccharine, however you say it, like about pages that are really kind of sappy and corny and gimmicky. So I've noticed that a lot of people are going and looking at a shop tab before a blog or an about page because they're interested to see what it is that you sell and like a high level view of that versus, trying to wait to get into one of your funnels or like, following you religiously on Instagram so they don't miss that, like DM me for this download. They're like, they really want to see what it is that you have. And we should make that easier for them, at least in some capacity. It doesn't have to be everything that you sell, although we've put our courses in our online shop and that's been really helpful because they're priced much higher than a funnel course would be, but like people can just buy that immediately. So if they have an immediate need for that, it's available. I don't know that I would recommend it for a signature offer like BFE, but your mini courses, I think it works perfectly there.
Nice. Yeah, by the way, and if anyone listening is like, okay, you guys have got me, I want to start a shop. I actually created a guide on starting your shop. You can find it in the description of the episode. Otherwise, it's really easy. It's fastforwardamy.com/start your shop. Apparently is the name I gave it. So I'm very proud because during this episode, I was like, shit, do I have a lead magnet? I do.
Oh my gosh. You were the queen of this. You have a lead magnet for everything.
Yeah, I actually have too many lead magnets. I think they would do better if I put them in a shop. So yeah, anyone wanting to start a shop, I created a guide both in English as well as in Dutch. fastforwardamy.com/start your shop, and then you can learn how you can start your online shop in less than an hour. I think it's just so easy.
Nice.
And Christina, if they want to learn more about all the things you have to offer, like you have so much good advice, and I love it when you show your numbers in your Instagram stories, like your stats from your sales and stuff. Where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm actually doing an annual review where we're going to reveal all the numbers. So that's exciting. Nice. I'm everywhere at Christina Scalera, ChristinaScalera.com, Instagram, all that. If you kind of half spell my name right, you'll find me. So that's exciting. CH, yes, I should specify that.
Yeah, sorry, I was thinking about Scalera. That was with a C. Christina is CH.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Christina, thanks so much for stopping by. I loved having you. Maybe in a few months you can come back and we can talk about how my TikTok adventure is going.
I would love that. You're amazing. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.